T44 Brian is finally on film. Of course, you can still keep up to date on Instagram and head to my website for information on all the cars currently in the lineup. For my first video, I'll be detailing a friend's 1983 Ur-Quattro that I'm currently storing at the shop. I could talk about detailing for hours, but I'll save that for the future and keep explanations pretty brief. This car is by no means in rough shape, but it's definitely due for a refresh. This video will focus on the exterior, while part 2 will focus on the interior and engine bay. From 10 feet away, everything looks pretty good, but up close the original paint is starting to look hazy and has a lot of scratches that need to be dealt with. With a little effort, a lot of the imperfections should be removed, and I hope my friend is pleasantly surprised when he comes to pick up the car in the spring. I admit that detailing is my relaxation time, so I'll be speeding up certain parts where you don't need to watch me take forever to complete one task. With that being said, I won't waste any more time and we'll jump right into it. I always start with the dirtiest jobs first, and that means wheels and engine bay. This is just a quick soak for now, but it will help out later on. The paint has already been pre-soaked and rinsed once to help loosen any heavier dirt. And once I'm done with this initial first scrub down, I'll just rinse and we'll move on. With the paint clean, I have a better idea of what kind of correction we need to do. Pesky swirls aren't this car's problem, it's all of these fine vertical scratches that look a little bit deeper than I initially hoped. We're going to definitely have to compound and polish. Once the car is rinsed, it's time to get soapy again and clay. I get a lot of questions about how and when to clay, but I'll go in depth on this in the future. For now, just know that claying isn't a routine maintenance step and its frequency is dependent on the type of environment your vehicle is exposed to. Just like when you wash a car, top to bottom and back and forth. Use plenty of soap or detailing spray and full clay to expose clean surfaces when you notice it's dirty, like this. See how you don't want to start from the bottom? This is all around the wheel wells and all the tar and road grime the car's picked up over the years. Now that the clay has removed any embedded contamination, and also any sort of wax or last step protection, we're left with paint that's ready to be corrected. Ensure the vehicle is completely dry and all standing water is removed from the jams before moving on to machine polishing. This is a perfect time to break out an air gun to blow out any sort of weather stripping or grills that may be holding water and will drip while you're trying to polish. Unfortunately, black shows everything, and there's quite a bit of marring. Some scratches known as rids are present in the finish, so while we won't be able to get every imperfection out of the paint, we can hopefully knock down some of the lighter swirls to increase depth and clarity in the finish. It's best not to overcorrect scratches like this because you run the risk of removing way too much paint. Starting with the least aggressive pad and compound is always a good idea when using a machine polisher, but since this car's paint is not in the greatest of shape, I'll start with a normal cutting pad and Meguiar's 105 compound. This stuff cuts pretty quickly, so I tend to put the polisher on speed 3.5 to 4 and check progress after each pass. Try and use an overlapping grid pattern from panel to panel. Always keep the polisher moving and don't stop at one spot, especially near creases and edges of the bodywork where paint is thinner. Work in a small section at a time. The goal is to remove enough surrounding paint from the scratches to create a smooth finish. Scratches tend to appear white due to the way light reflects them. As surrounding paint is removed, the light begins to evenly reflect off the finish. These are the results after one pass of compound on the hood. In person, the difference in clarity is pretty significant. I still have to compound the remaining panels, but for now I'd rather play it safe and move to a less aggressive polish and pad that will not only knock down these scratches further, but take out the micro scratches that can be instilled by compounding. Because an Ur-Quattro isn't as slab-sided as a 4000 or large chassis, there are some areas I'll end up doing by hand or with a smaller polisher and pad, such as the door handle cups and under the spoiler. The polisher needs to avoid the fragile decals too. For less than 2 hours of work, this Ur-Quattro is already way down the road to recovery. An hour or so more of polishing and we'll be ready to protect our hard work with a layer of sealant. For polishing, I've switched to a polishing pad and Meguiar's 205. The process is the same as compound. Keep the work area a manageable size and use an overlapping pattern to ensure even results. With the right side of the hood done, the polish has successfully removed finer marring and further reduced the vertical rids. While I would do a second, even third pass if this car was mine, the owner will be more than happy with the results. Notice the reflection of the garage lights on the paint. The side that has been polished reflects the light tighter and clearer than the side that has only been compounded. That just leaves the rest of the car to do. The polisher can be set between speeds 5 and 6, and a little bit of polish goes a long way. As with compound, you can initially load the pad with a sizable X pattern of liquid for the first panel, but thereafter you only need a couple penny-sized drops of liquid when you start a new area of work. Using more than necessary leads to clogging of the pad and less effective cutting ability. You also waste time trying to remove a thicker layer of polish off the paint when trying to buff with a clean microfiber. At this point in the detail, the exterior paintwork has been corrected to a standard that would easily be presentable at a car show. Any fine scratching that was instilled during compounding has been removed, leaving only tougher RID-style damage behind. Any aforementioned areas the polisher couldn't reach have been done by hand to ensure an even finish throughout the body. This also goes for trunk and door jambs and wheels, which were treated to a bit of old-fashioned elbow grease. While the polish was out, I managed to clean up the underside of the hood and the accompanying hood jambs. While it looks better already, paintwork in these areas will need to be tackled again along with a list of things I've already noted that need replacement or attention. Last step protection is all that's left to do. For now, while the car stays clean in the garage over the winter, I have opted for a ceramic spray that has not only provided impressive durability on all my show cars and daily drivers since its release earlier this year, but produces a really nice shine. Again, a little bit goes a long way. This particular spray ceramic can be sprayed directly on paint or a microfiber towel, but regardless, a final buff with a dry portion of the towel is necessary to produce a clear and even finish. The days of spending time waxing are over, and within 15 minutes the car has a coating of protection that will last for months even after it's gone. The best Ur-Quattro is the one that you don't have to pay for, and I'm honored to have the privilege as caretaker for this incredible car. While I have a feeling getting the interior and engine bay up to snuff will be a bit of a challenge, you know I've dealt with worse. Thanks for watching and the encouragement to get T44 Brian on film.